2 years old. I've been investing in my early 20s. I graduated, that's what we were talking about. I graduated with a degree in BPI, but I never practiced. It was just really me working for an IT company. While I was working there, I really saw it na if I just use all of my income here, tapos I don't save and I don't invest, walang mangyayari sa akin. So that's when I started saving and saving and saving, and then I went into mutual funds, yung mga VUL na yan. Because it came to a point when I was investing in those things, I was watching my mutual funds every day. Sabi ko, parang may mali yata, why am I watching my funds on a daily basis? So, yun, that led me to my next step, which I tried to learn more about investing in the stock market. And what they wanted me to talk about for today is really, for those that are not yet invested in the market, the basics of what the stock market is, how can you actually start, ano talaga siya, because there's a lot of misconceptions that have prevented a lot of people from investing in the market. Do you agree? Yes? You look like a very holy crowd. I feel that I'm in mass, parang ganun. Then second, we're gonna talk about two other topics. The first one is fundamental analysis. It's sort of a crash course because when we do it in our workshops, it's really a half-day course. The goal of that is to help teach you how to select stocks. Because there are over 200 plus stocks in the PSE. Most of you, are you all employed or you have your own business? Yes? Yes, if most of you have spent a lot of your time in your work or doing your business, of course your core source of earnings is still that. So if you watch all of those 200 stocks, you might not be fruitful already in what you're doing. So the goal of fundamental analysis for me is really, out of the 200 plus stocks that are out there, how do you actually select which are the ones that you're supposed to look at? And once you've narrowed it down, we go on to our last topic. It's sort of a crash course also of charting, that ito na yung mga pinili kong stocks, ito yung mga stocks na tingin ko are okay. If I believe these stocks are okay, the next step is now, do I buy now or do I wait? Do I buy now and then hold, and when do I sell? So those are the three things that we're going to talk about for today. And I hope, and this is one of the things that I really like. I love sharing ideas about investing. I love sharing ideas about teaching people how to invest, because I really believe this. We have a very small portion of people investing, and I believe it's time for more of us, more Filipinos, to actually invest in the stock market here. Because sayang we have a growing economy, and I'm going to show you some details about that later. But during a growing economy, do you agree that the rich always get richer? Yes. Tignan nyo katabi nyo, mukha ba siyang mayaman? Mukha ba siyang sobrang But that's it eh. And it's time for us, the middle class, it's time for us to actually take part in what's going on here. Because why? As the economy is growing, we all have a chance to take part in it. We all have a chance to make our economy grow higher and stronger. What's this? 333%. Anyone? DFC? What's your name? Charity. Yes. 333%, that's how big the stock market went up over the past 7 years. So from 2008 to 2015, that's how big our stock market went up. Is that good or bad? Good. Why? Imagine this. Pag ilagay niyo yung pera sa time deposit, will you earn that much? No, if you put your money in time deposit, tinignan mo, yung interest rate, kailangan ka ng microscope para lang makita gano'ng malaki, di ba? As good as it may seem, here's the thing. As good as it may seem, a lot of people who make money off of that were foreign investors. Until now, majority of the market is still dominated by foreign investors. And it's time for us, kasi it's our stock market, eh. It's our Jollibee, our BDO, our Metro Bank, all of those other companies that are listed there. Yun yung nakalist sa market natin. So why not invest in it? Kasi tayo rin yung kinabang dun eh. And the heart of why I do things really is to make stock investing easy for everyone. Because I believe there's a lot of stigmas preventing people from investing in the market. So that's what that's the goal of why we want to do this. And let me check this. Do you think stock market is investing or gambling? Who says investing? Gambling. Who hasn't raised their hand yet? Is it only for the rich? No. Is it only for analysts? No. Do you have to monitor it all the time? No. Yes? No. What I want you to have in the next 7 hours that we're gonna do the seminar here. Hanggang 11, di ba, you saw all the, just have an open mind in all of this, because we have to understand, these things, this were never taught to us, right? It was never taught by our parents to us. So what we're doing here is something that's counterculture. What we're doing here is, imagine if some of you left work early to actually invest in your education, to actually spend the time to learn more of this. And if you look at the statistics, I know you can see this online already. Sa Singapore, gano'ng kadami nag-invest sa stock market? Percentage of population. 50%? Higher or lower? Higher, John. Tingin mo. You look smart eh. Higher or lower? Lower. Singapore, it's 33%. Sa Japan, higher or lower? Who says higher? Lower. Japan, it's 25. Malaysia, higher or lower? 10%?
Higher. 15.
Malaysia, it's 18%. Philippines,
1.
5.
10, going once, going twice, 2. Isa-ising natin ang Singapore, Japan, Malaysia, and then Philippines. Less than 1% of the population is investing in the stock market. Out of 100 million Filipinos, guess what? We have only 800 plus thousand accounts listed in the market. Pero tingnan mo, Singapore, Japan, Malaysia, lumalaban naman tayo sa skyline, di ba? So, at least, anything, meron tayong dagdag doon. So, we're going to talk about this. The first 45 minutes, we'll talk about what is the stock market. Then, what I mentioned, once you know already what the stock market is, alin sa 200 plus stocks to actually look at. Then after deciding that, after looking at, hey, I already know which stocks I want to consider, now it's time to time it. Because there are so many scenarios that can teach you how to come in and out of a market. So basically, here's the question that people would like to ask me. Why is there a stock market? Anyone? Bakit? Look at it from this perspective. If you look at it from a business perspective, diba there are 3 types of businesses? Yes. Single proprietorship, partnership, and corporation. Among the 3, which is the most risky? Or which creates a bigger type of risk?
Single.
Sole? Look at it this way. If it's a sole proprietorship, for example, decide what business do you want to start? Or do you already have a business? Anything. Google, okay. Ano pa? Sigel, parang gano'n. Your own version of Google, di ba? Parang search engine for every Filipino. Gano'n. So, Sai starts his own business in single proprietorship. For example, Sai takes out a loan dun sa business niya. And then, nalugi yung loan. Nalugi yung business after 3 months or a year. Gano'n. Pag nalugi yung business niya, what happens next? Kung dahil nalugi siya, he still has to pay off yung nagpautang sa kanya, yes? Pero what happens there? If he's the business himself, here's the thing. Since he is the business himself, pati yung personal assets niya, makukuha. Bahay niya, kotse niya, everything except yung aso niya, whatever is there. Pag partnership, ano difference sa single proprietorship? O hindi, I was in a seminar before, same question mismo about, dalawa sila. But it can be up to 5 people. Okay? A partnership is similar in essence with a single proprietorship, but the difference lang nun, mas madami sila. But for me, look at it this way. For example, Anthony and Sai become partners for the business. And then, as they start doing the business, they still take out a loan. And then, 3 years after doing the business, nakita ni Sai na parang kailangan ko yata mag-showbiz sa Indonesia. When it does showbiz gig in Indonesia, naiwan niya yung business, nalugi, Anthony being here, kahit si Sai yung kumuha ng loan because they're partners, damay pati assets ni Anthony. You get what I'm trying to say? So in terms of risk, in terms of a partnership type of business, ano kaibahan nun? Even if you don't make a mistake, your partner makes one for you, since the business is both of you, pwede ka madamay. Can you follow? But in a corporation type of setup, here's the thing. It's the shares who represent ownership in the business. When shares represent ownership in the business, people buy shares to that corporation. Can you follow? So here's the thing. When corporations or businesses are progressing through the years, may nakita na kayong business na sinabi nila, sige, after 3 years, kahit malugi ako, okay lang. Does that happen? No, why? Because every business wants to expand, every business wants to grow. Yes? So here's the thing, there are two ways for companies to raise money. Number one, mangungutang sila. Or number two, they sell shares or what you call equity. What does that mean? Imagine this. Imagine, I don't know, SM. You know Henry C? Will he come to your house door to door tapos sabihin niya, Al, kailangan ko ng pera pang gawa ng mall. Can you invest in my company? Will he ever do that? Why? Why not? Because number one, it's not efficient, yes? And can he be able to raise the amount of money that he would need? Kung binigyan siya ng 100,000, is that enough? No? Yes? Tiles pa lang yun ng isang portion ng mall. So what do big companies normally do? They sell their shares where? To a lot of big financial institutions. People who can invest in their companies. So here's the thing. Paano na tayo? How can all of us who don't know the owners take part in those companies? How can we become invested? How can we be invested in our growing economy if number one, we have no access to it? Okay? Number one, because it creates access for us to be able to invest in those companies. Imagine it this way. If I'm NBC, if I'm SM, I'm Kohui, I'm Lushotan, I'm all of those companies put together, I sell all of my shares here in the stock market, and all of us, kahit wala tayong access doon, what happens? Because the shares are over here, we get to buy shares of those companies. Can you follow? So that's what the stock market really is. It's just like you investing in one of the biggest companies in the Philippines, one of the biggest companies that are here. So here's the thing, when people say that investing in the stock market is risky, I'd like to pose this question. Here's the thing, if Sai starts his own food chain, diba? Or John starts his own pizza place, Papa John's, diba? He starts something like that. When John starts his own pizza place, what happens? You have two options. For example, may 100,000 pesos ka. You have 100,000 pesos. Your first option is to put your money kay John for his pizza chain, or you put it in Jollibee. They're both both quick service restaurants. Pag kayo, where would you put your money? Wala kang tiwala kay John? You look smart naman, di ba? But yeah, why would people put their money in Jollibee? Number one, it has a stable track record of earnings. And it's already there. And I always say this, basta may chicken joy in Jollibee, tingin nyo, titigil Pilipino kumain doon. Isipin nyo, nawalan ng chicken joy ibang stalls last year, nagkaroon na ng hashtag ng chicken sad. Because that's how big of an impact chicken joy is to the lifestyle of every Filipino. But here's what I want to submit to you. Why should you be scared to invest your money in the stock market when you're actually putting your money in companies that you know will be there? When you're actually putting your money in companies that you believe will still be there kahit may apo pa kayo. John he may have all of the best intentions, pero he's just starting it for the first time. So what do I want to say? When you invest in the stock market, it actually poses lesser risk for you than investing it in legit businesses that are just starting. Because there's already a track record that's there. You get what I'm trying to say? So, ano mangyayari doon? The stock market is one of the most important sources for companies to raise money or raise additional financial capital for expansion by selling shares of ownership of the company in the public market. Another thing you need to remember is this. It allows privately owned companies to be owned publicly, and it gives the mass population access to trade shares or percentage of ownerships in the companies listed. There's a term that they call in the stock market, they call it IPO or initial public offering. What does that mean? It means that from a private company, for example, hindi ko siya listed sa stock market, what do? It's the first time that they're actually selling their shares to the public. Once they sell their shares to the public, what happens now? The company becomes public and all of us now have access to actually buy those shares. Imagine this. I may not have the ability, I believe not, entrepreneurship is available to everyone, but not everyone also has the ability to actually take on the risk of being a business. At tinanggap ko na sabi ko sa sarili ko, in my entire life, hindi ko kaya magpatayo ng sarili kong power plant. Hindi ko kaya magpatayo ng sarili kong electric distribution facility. But I can be a shareholder of Meralco. I can buy shares of those companies with me doing what I'm doing. And one of the things that gave me confidence when I was starting out investing in the stock market was this. I invested at an early age. As I invested in an early age, everything that I placed in the stock market was for my retirement. This is such a true story. I have never taken out money in the stock market ever since. Everything that's there, what do? As it starts earning, I just use it to buy more shares. Why? Because my goal is retirement. What does it do to me? It gives me the confidence that when I was starting out, wala pa naman eh. There was not much advocacies like this, not much trainings and seminars about finance. So I had to learn and start by my own. When I was starting on my own, my biggest confidence was I was already thinking magkakaroon nga ng recessions. Recessions happen in cycles. Economic cycles move up and down. But here's the thing. If I had 40 years, chances are it was a long period for me. Trading, I just learned along the way. But what gave me the confidence was I knew I was buying companies that were growing. Am I making sense? You look so so holy. Hindi ko alam, parang everyone's so holy. Okay, this one. Familiar kayo dito? Rustans or SSI, Store Specialist Incorporated, sold 130 million shares last year, times 7.5 million. They were able to raise 7.5 billion in one day. Pure Gold went into an IPO last 2011, and then they sold 600 million shares times 12. They were able to raise 7.2 billion pesos, also in one day. This represents 20% stake of Pure Gold. And imagine this. In 2011, sabi ng Pure Gold, they wanted to start 25 new groceries the following year. Here's the thing. 4 years after, is Pure Gold everywhere now? Yes. Why? Because they were able to get funds when they invested in the stock market, when they sold their shares in the stock market. And here's the thing. One of the reasons why I love to encourage a lot of people to invest in the market is this. Number one, when more people start investing in the stock market, more IPOs will come in. When more IPOs will come in, look at this. When Pure Gold starts creating more supermarkets, madaming tao na walang trabaho. Magkakaroon ng trabaho eh. And I'll push it even further. Bago magawa yung supermarkets na yun, yung mga tao, mga karpintero, na wala rin trabaho, they now have jobs. If we place our money all in the bank, it's just literally there and not helping the economy. Why not change that? We have so much money in current accounts and savings accounts that, alam niyo yun, sino sa inyo may time deposit tapos after 5 years, naka 5 years na hindi nyo pa nagagalaw? 10 years na hindi nyo pa nagagalaw? Why not convert it if you don't plan to use that for a very long period of time? Why not invest it and make it part of a growing economy? And that's what I believe yung nagagawa ng stock market eh. It allows you to earn, but in the same way, it allows you to actually help other people also as well. And imagine this. Is investing in a supermarket risky? Nelson, think about it. Pure Gold is everywhere, yes? And then when you look at it, they're strategically placed sa mga kanto na madaming dinadaanan. So ano mangyayari? The average Filipino would go there, magsa-shopping sila, mag-grocery sila. What happens next? Yung population natin, is our population growing? Or becoming lesser each year? We're growing. So as our population is growing, what does it do? Mas madaming mag-consume. We are a consumption-driven economy, meaning as more Filipinos start consuming, our economy will thrive. So what does it teach me? I will invest in areas, and we're going to talk more about that later, but I'm going to invest in areas where I know one thing. Habang may mga tao na gumagastos sa Pure Gold, and I'm part of it, it will allow me to make money and invest there. Am I making sense? Another example, this was another IPO a few years ago, East West Bank. They sold 245 million shares at 18.5 pesos. GT Capital, familiar?
Yes.
For those that are investing, this is familiar. For those that are not, they were able to raise this much. They're one of the biggest IPOs in history. In Philippine history, they were able to raise 21.6 billion pesos in one day. Ito pa, Century Pacific or Century Tuna, yung mga products niya, they were able to sell 229 million shares. Ito yung mga products nila. Are you familiar with what they sell? Yes. Same thing, same situation. Mga tao kumakain ng tuna? Yes, no? Yes. Ito pa, kung nagtitipid ka, hindi ka bibili ng tuna, ano bibili mo? 555. Malaki 7, di ba? Corned beef, Swift, or Argentina. Ano mas mura? Argentina, Swift. Di ba? So that's their option. That's what I'm trying to say. Can you imagine a day na mawawalan ng tuna sa General Santos City? Bakit? Doon na galing yung tuna natin, yes? Yes. If I can imagine a day na mawawala yung tuna natin doon, that's when probably, saan ako kunin ng Century yung tuna niya? But Century Pacific sold their shares and were able to raise 3.15 billion pesos on that day. Here's the thing, and here's a tip for those that are investing, or those that want to invest in IPOs. One of the things that I would like you to consider is this. Number one, look for companies that are placing their IPOs in expansion. You would want to put your money in companies na the majority of what they're using sa IPO nila will go into expansion. If I have two choices, number one, I would put my money in Pure Gold, or even before, I would put my money in Cebu Pacific. Which would you put? Where would you put your money? Here's the thing. When Cebu Pacific went into an IPO, majority of what they had, they placed it kabayan now. And if you're an investor, here's the thing, hindi naman masama magbayad ng utang kasi kung nagbayad ka ng utang, the interest that you're paying becomes bigger or smaller? It becomes smaller. But if you have two choices, you would put it in a company that you know would use majority of it to expand versus someone who would use majority of it to pay debt. Where would you put it? Expansion or debt? Expansion. And here's one of the most talked about stocks last year, Double Dragon. It moved almost 500% in just a month. A lot of it was because people were so excited about the concept of what they could do with their community ones. But imagine this. And I want to push this concept further that just for you to grasp what the stock market is. Para sa akin, it's just like a public market where people converge to buy and sell. Sino sa inyo nakapunta na sa public market? Wala pa, hindi ba? Doon sa mga wala pa, here's a picture of public market para at least you have an idea, you have a concept of what it is. But imagine this. If you see this, ano nakikita niyo sa picture? Saging. Is there a big chance about that if I buy banana there, yung mga saging dyan, malaki ba chance galing sa isang farm, tapos pinagsak lang dyan? Yes. Pwede rin iba-ibang farm, pero chances are pwede rin. So, would see him sabihin niya, suki, dito ka na lang. 9 pesos lang. Where do you think I will go? Sa pogi pa rin, no? Sa 9 pesos. Why? Because it's cheaper, more expensive. Cheaper. And here's a concept I would like to share to all of you. People would always ask me, Marvin, pag umakit yung stock sa stock market, bakit umakit siya bumababa yung stock sa stock market? Imagine this scenario. What do you have here? You have 3 people selling banana, yes? You have 1 person trying to buy it. What do you have here? More buyers or more sellers? More people trying to sell the banana, more people trying to buy it. More people selling, yes? So when you have more people selling, what did you see there? What happened to the price? Did it go up or did it go down? It went down. And that's what you need to remember. In the stock market, prices go down because more people are selling, and prices go up because more people are buying. It's really supply and demand. That's what basically it is. There's such a misconception that I have a website, and from that website, some people would send me emails from it, and they would ask questions, bakit pag bumabagsak yung market on a daily basis, they don't know what to do already, kinakabahan na sila. Here's what I want to push to all of you. It's normal for stocks to move up and down on a daily basis. There's nothing wrong for a stock that it goes down. Why? You have to remember, stocks go down when more people buy or sell. When more people sell, prices go down. So what does that mean? You have to imagine it this way. Are people in the market to make money? Yes or no? Kayo, are you here for academic reasons or to learn how to invest? To learn how to invest, diba? When you try to learn how to invest, imagine it this way. If you buy a stock at 10 pesos, it goes to 20, how much did you make already? 100%, right? Do you think the average investor would be tempted to sell? Pag nadoble na niya pera niya? Yes, no. Yung iba pa nga siguro, 50% pa lang, parang, tao lang ako, hindi ako pwede, huwag naman ako masyado greedy, kailangan ko tayo benta, di ba? What am I saying? There will come a point in time when you will have more people wanting to sell the stock than buying it. When more people are wanting to sell the stock, what's going to happen? Is it going to go even higher or lower? It's going to go lower. And that's the thing. When people start selling, no matter how blue chip the stock is, Ayala Corp, Bayan, SM, PLDT, Globe, no matter how big it is, when majority of the people are selling, stocks will go down. And here's the thing, people sell for different reasons also. So, as long as people are selling, prices will go down. But it will come to a point when umakyat siya, then bumaba, while the stock is going lower, it comes to a point where everyone else thinks it's cheap. When everyone else thinks it's cheap, ano mangyayari? Aakyat siya, mababa. Pag mura, aakyat, bibili ba yung tao? Hindi. Bibili sila. Ganun din. I'll give you another example. Familiar kayo sa Valentine's Day? Yes, no? Sino masaya pag Valentine's? Wala? Or sige, Single Awareness Day. Pag February 14, okay. Yung roses pag February 14, mura, mahal? Mahal. Why? But there's a lot of people who want to buy the roses, yes? But fast forward 2 weeks after, same rose, mas mura, mas mahal. Mas mura siya. Here's a question I want to push. May nagbago ba sa rose? Wala naman. 5 times 3,102, if I want to buy the stock of PLDT, it will give me 50,510. Can you follow? Yes, here's the thing. Okay, without using valuations muna, without using other ratios, kung mura or mahal yung stock. Look at it this way. 15,000 pesos, is it affordable? Yes, no. Kaya ba siya ng bawat Pilipino? Imagine this. Yung mga Pilipino kaya bumili ng iPhone 6. But this one is even cheaper than an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 5. For 15,000 pesos, you become an investor of one of the biggest telecommunications companies here in the country. Instead of you just being a consumer of all of their products and services for a relatively smaller amount, you change the paradigm. You move from being a consumer into an investor. And that's why I want to encourage you. It's not as expensive as what you can see. Some of the things and the gadgets that we normally buy that depreciate in value are more expensive pa. Bili ka ng iPad, bili ka ng iPhone, ano mangyari? After a few years, if you want to sell it, it's at a lower price. Buy shares of this. It will give you dividends on a regular basis for a long period of time. Tsaka, imagine this. If you buy shares of PLDT, it makes you what? A part owner. Pag tumawag ka sa customer service, pwede mong sabihin, paki-prioritize ako, I'm a part owner of this company, di ba? Ano pa? Jollibee. Who wants to own Jollibee? Wala. Jollibee owns, if you buy shares of Jollibee, you will own all of this. Ano pa kulang? Yeah. Burger King. Yeah. Tagal na yan. More than 87 years na. Mga 3 years ago, yung Burger King. Why they bought Burger King number 1 for Jollibee and Mang Inasal to relatively go higher than Burger King to fight McDonald's 1-1. But imagine this. What was one of Jollibee's biggest latest purchase? Sino makahula, bibigyan ko kayo round trip ticket to Glorieta. they bought all of the Dunkin' Donuts franchise in China. So when you're buying the stock of Jollibee, you're now not just buying local stocks here, but you're buying multinational stocks. And for me, that's something to be proud of. Why? You're buying a local company with multinational operations. And not push it further. People talk about diversification, diversify mutual funds, UITF, real estate. But if you invest in the stock market, if Jollibee wants to grow their business, 50% yung kita nila will come from overseas by 2020. If you're invested in Jollibee, that's already diversifying your business. Why? Kasi 50% ng kita nila hindi naman galing sa Pilipinas. So kung magka-recession ng Pilipinas, something happens in 2016, whoever wins as president, yung kita naman ng Jollibee, it's not just here. Are you getting this? And then there was a report that they planned to buy Krispy Kreme, but we have the point, if Jollibee stock price was 218, 10 times 218, 2,180 pesos. Mura mahal. Pwede na. Why? For me, for 2,180 pesos, pag kumakain kayo sa Jollibee ng mga kakaibigan nyo, pwede sabihin, kaya na kayo ng kain. Sabi, bakit? I own this place eh, di ba? For 2,000 plus, sulit na yun. Tapos nanong nila, ilan shares mo, 10 lang hawak mo. Pag 10 lang hawak mo, sasabihin mo. Ako, sasabihin ko ganito. Gagano'n may code ko. I'm a minority shareholder. So there. What else? Another example, Splash, 1,000 times 1.84. Example, if that's the stock price, to buy Splash, it's 1,840 pesos. That's what you call a board lot. Yung board lot, habang tumataas yung stock price, the board lot becomes higher or lower?